Welcome back to some professional StarCraft 2. Let me introduce the most entertaining player in the world. I think undisputed at this point. The absolute final boss. It is Dark. And the challenger. His work cut out for him. The tactical Terran. It's GuMiho. The mech enthusiast. He's gone up against Dark many times before. But it's almost always an underdog story, as Dark has been looking extra dominant lately. I'm not just talking about his personality traits. Well, best of 3. Terran versus Zerg. Korean StarCraft 2 League. Well, Dark's TVZ lately, well, I'm reminded, when Dark plays, there is no meta. He just does what he wants. And what I want, which doesn't nearly have the same power, but I'm gonna try to wish it anyways, is you like and subscribe. Jimmy, what are we? 1,052. If we get 1,052 likes on this video, I'll cast another series. So thank you guys for watching. I hope you've enjoyed it. I'm always looking for it. So fun fact, Dark played in, I believe, both the North American and the Korean Cups this week. And I'm not sure exactly how I did. I do my best not to spoil myself, but I wasn't surprised to see him there. And when GuMiho's alongside him, well, always worth a look. 6 Zerglings, just wandering across, coming in 10 seconds before the Hellions. The timing's mapped out, charting a course to at least mildly annoy these SCVs. Come on, Doug. GuMiho. Clever girl. Wait, oh my god. He almost gets a Hellion, traps it up against the little corner. It was clearly a trap there that was being laid with the depot open. But Dark walked right into it and still almost came out. But overall, no real damage. Being a little cheeky, not bothering to chase the Reaper in a futile endeavor, but instead try to get some counter damage. So, off to a mostly standard start. The Queens are patrolling the edge of their domain as the creep spreads. I think, well, almost literally there. And a 4-minute lair. Okay, Dark. What are you up to? This is so early, I don't even think... Nidus? You know what? I've stopped trying to predict exactly. But it's... You know what we haven't seen? There's one thing we have not really seen much of from Dark, especially in this matchup. Mutas. The Mutalists. Such a staple of historical Zerg versus Terran, but just usually not getting the return on investment recently, as Terran players kind of lock down their bases so quickly. With such a good economy, it's just too costly to invest in. There's a baneling nest on the way. GuMiho with plenty. Oh my, Dark is quite supply blocked. On an Overlord he knew he was going to lose, so a bit of a rough start. Building 4 Ovies now, but he's been supply blocked for a while with Larva in the bank, which means he just doesn't have that much here. As GuMiho shows up, drops a few Marines in front, Hellions roasting through. Queen on the run, nothing in defense. That supply block becoming, well, now not very relevant as the supply is looking just fine. The Queens are going to take out the medevac. 8 drones thus far. Another Queen to block the ramp. Unfortunately, though, oh, and he bounces the Queen out of the way with a grenade. And 13 drones so far. Banelings are completed, but even they are quite costly. And right now it looks like game 1 very much heading towards GuMiho, at least to start out. Wow, Dark with a shaky mechanical start there. As losing the Overlord to a Viking, okay. But getting supply blocked off of that? Oh, and then GuMiho coming in with the perfect timing. And Dark says, now, he'll never expect it. I can't believe it. I've watched enough Dark games to know to expect the unexpected. So in expecting the unexpected, I actually expected the Spire. Mutas with a Roach Warren underneath. So we might be looking at just the surprise mutas, the hit and run into Roach mainling, which does. Ooh, wow! I love GuMiho's production lines, and I say that term. That's a literal term. Oh my god, something that tickles the Factorio brain right there. Quite literal, as the add-ons being installed. Meanwhile, Dark doing something kind of similar. Roach Warren, Evo Chambers. The scan spots the Spire. The Queen's congregating. Okay. Widow Mines are on the way. Double Banshee. No Cloak. Not needed. No Queens here. Already many Roaches in production. Dark doesn't have anything in the bank, really, for mutas. Maybe a couple. Just enough to take down Banshees, maybe a couple medevacs. Could even be a Roach Corrupt. Spire doesn't necessarily mean mutas, though it's oftentimes associated. Corruptors. Roach Corruptor is on the table here. I haven't seen much of that style lately. Honestly, I wouldn't put it past Dark to just, well, I'm not going to cancel it, but no need to bother with the Spire. He's already got an infestation bit on the way. That's a decorative Spire for panic only, as GuMiho scanned it about halfway through. And now, well, he's got turrets set up in this mineral line. It's not a huge commitment, but definitely acknowledging the idea of Mutalisks. And it has kept GuMiho. Well, GuMiho didn't really have the production to move out on the map. He didn't have the medevacs, he just didn't have the unit count. So Dark has recovered from that early pressure, but GuMiho with a 4th command center already landing. As 1-1 completes. The classic misdirection. Dark now. Infestors on the way. Hydra is dead. Looks like that Spire will remain decorative. Creep being cleared out. 1-1 about to complete for Dark here, right as the lair starts. It's more about the composition of units as opposed to their actual base stats, I guess. So, especially with Dark, is that Roach Ravager, especially Ravager Infestor, none of that really relies on your attack or your defense upgrades. It just relies on being in the right place at the right time, the right preparation. Lurker dead on the way. 2-2 for GuMiho. The last mech Terran choosing is very tactical bio. Honestly, as I've said many times, I think GuMiho is one of the smartest bio Terrans. I think partially because he's a little bit of a slower player. Only, I say only, 300 APM or so on average, which makes him almost seem mortal. But it... Dark, wait, how... Wow, it's so hard to see next to the creep tumor there. Wow. He thought, like, the dark spot of the creep might have... Oh, my. Well, bit of a pain. He spots the Widow Mine. GuMiho going to clear the area for him, make it a little easier to spot as well. But yeah, GuMiho's, his tendency to play mech has let him be a little more effective with the bio. Not so reliant on micro, but on finding the right timing and that. But that's just so many Marines right now. Infestor goes down before it's able to get a fungal. The base itself, the evolution chambers, the Roach Warren. Here come the Banshees with no infestors to lock this down. GuMiho's damage output is too damn high. This is all before 2-2. The lurkers show up, and that may prevent the outright defeat here for Dark. But he's going to lose his upgrades, he's going to lose his Roach Warren, he's going to lose his hatchery, and a whole bunch of drones. So Dark pinned back up against the wall here. The Ravagers are not going to cut it. GuMiho stutter stepping to the side out of those corrosive bowels, though Zerglings and Hydras going to overrun the rest. But overall, resounding success for GuMiho's attack here. He guts the tech tree. That is the big risk of putting the evolution chambers right on the edge of your base. They're the first things to go down during an attack. The Roach Warren falling is also not ideal, though easily replaced. The upgrades are the real issue as time goes on, because GuMiho is finished 2-2. and started already on 3-3, whereas Dark is stuck on 1-1, and he hasn't restarted even the Evo chambers. As time goes on, GuMiho's unit composition is going to get better and better. He's got Ghost Academy back at home, more command centers, those previously mentioned upgrades. How many barracks now? Not 8, 10. 10 barracks. Wow. All right, pumping it out. Though, of course, he's not using them right now because he's suffering from success. He's maxed out. Whereas Dark here, stuck, pinned back to his hatcheries, has been on the defensive all game. GuMiho picks up, heads for the main. Queens and Spores already in position to box it out. This isn't a known scenario here for Dark. He can play defensive if needed. In fact, he is the Turtle Zerg. Retreating into his carapace, relying on lurkers and infestors to keep him going. But it's going to be a sometimes literally uphill battle here. GuMiho, this is textbook. Wow. GuMiho is right. He's essentially writing a new edition of Macro Terran right now. He's got 6 bases, 10 barracks, 3 factories on the way in addition to the one he already has. Right now, GuMiho going. It's like a sci-fi Age of Empires level of production, with the sheer amount of barracks and production facilities across the board here. Dark reaches for the lowest, in fact, underground hanging fruit in the Nidus. A bit of a desperation move, as GuMiho has sensor towers, mostly covering the field. There's almost nowhere to slip by with like an overseer. Double drop in the back, gonna drag some more units back. That Spire still sitting by, waiting for its moment. Many of the units dragged back by the drop, but not nearly all. Dark still has a capable amount of lurkers at each of his forward bases. Enough so without an overwhelming amount of ghosts or siege tanks, GuMiho is not going to be breaking through. Thankfully for him, though, he's building 5 ghosts at a time. So that should crack open the defenses a bit. A dangerous tool, but one of the most exciting ones. A nuclear missile has joined the production tab, just in case. Now, with recent Dark games in mind, my only regret is that a neural parasitic ghost cannot launch the nuclear missile, which is incredibly unfortunate. The only way it could... Wait. Okay. If you... Now, this is, saying it's unlikely is definitely an overstatement. In the sense that it's not going to happen. But if you build... I don't actually know this. If you build a command center with a neural parasite SCV, which takes about 12 neural parasites, and then you build a Ghost Academy, and you build a nuke out of that Ghost Academy, but you have no ghosts, and you neural parasite their ghost, can it fire your nuke? If anyone was to do it. Well, GuMiho launches the nuke, zoning out the base. And there goes the hatch. GuMiho has also nuked himself before, but this one, the force field nuke, the most dangerous. The bioarmy just kind of wanders in both sides, not really realizing what's going on there. Dark taking the better of this particular engagement, but the snipes come out and draw things a little more even. Oh my god. He's going up to 8 factories. This absolute madman. GuMiho. A true macro Terran. Taking us to McDonald's after a bio appetizer. Mass siege tank. But Dark, he's held on, and he's held on strongly. He now has his unit composition. This is the comfort zone. Infestors, lurkers, no Vipers at the moment. But a Nidus at the back, some fungals chaining out, interrupting some of the snipes. But the planetary and the choke point here, but the escape Nidus! I didn't even really think about it until this moment, but the escape Nidus utilized. Dark. A very Brood War-esque tactic there. Definitely one of those things that still is heavily underutilized. Kind of like this as well. Forward missile turrets. Why not? All right. 100 minerals for detection. What is the one thing that screws over so many Terrans in the late game? Well, at least that can be specifically prevented. Neural parasite on your ghosts. So they EMP other ghosts. Which sounds, well, that is more likely than the building a ghost academy idea. Dark remembers his spire. Forgotten since ancient times. But it becomes a little bit greater. Dark making his spire great again. Lurker goes down, though. The armies are now incredibly dangerous to each other. GuMiho's a lot more in the bank. He's got to be very careful of those Dark Festers. Meanwhile, Lurker's trying to throw things into chaos and controlling it. This is it, the final phase. Huge fungal there, but only one Lurker to take advantage of it. Scan runs out, runs over the rest. Down goes a hatchery. 3-3 about to complete moments after the hatch goes down. GuMiho forced to abandon one of his bases, but Dark now retreating with everything. Pulling it all together. The Lurkers, once again looking to defend the heart of the swarm. 13 Overlords on the way as Dark manages to be a supply block yet again. EMPs and all the infestors. Lurkers trying to slice through. That's a lot of siege tanks, but the number dropping dramatically, just like a Dark supply. GuMiho macroing through. Not trying to outplay Dark in his own game, essentially putting himself in such a high tax bracket that Dark simply cannot compete. A rocky start for the final boss. We'll see if he enrages or if he crumbles as we go to Royal Blood. Oh, GuMiho. Some top-tier macro Terran. That was the classic, like, when you're ahead, get more ahead mindset. Where instead of trying to end the game when you have a small advantage, just getting a larger one. So that way Dark can't pull one of his tricksy moves and come back easily. Game 2, Royal Blood. Trixie, I think, is a Trixie Zergs. Oh, GuMiho looking at a Reaper build here. So, any map that doesn't have a ramp up to the natural makes Reaper builds significantly more effective because you don't have that ability to shut them down before they get up to the high ground. The Reapers kind of have free reign up until Zergling speed. Or, you know, like roaches. Which Dark has never shied away from gambling it on match point. Yeah, it's best of 3, so it doesn't take long to get there, but I'm just very solid. That is that solid Terran macro. That is my favorite part of Terran. Like the micro from Beyond and Maru. Yeah, it's impressive. It's flashy. But it also feels almost... It feels like you're watching, I don't know, like someone play an instrument. Like a harpsichord or something. And you're like, wow, that's very impressive. And it looks incredibly hard. I wouldn't know where to start, and I don't really have any interest. But I appreciate watching it. But with GuMiho, in that mass barracks, I don't know, that's personally, one, what drew me to Zerg originally, which I played more than most, at least to start. But just the sheer, and that's also why I like, some of you have seen Beyond All Reason. The Total Annihilation Spiritual Successor. Free to play, by the way. Go check out the second channel if you haven't yet. We're going to have some more videos, I promise. But it's just such a macro-oriented, very focused on securing resources and using them to expand production. which is, you know, kind of the opposite of slightly outranging roaches with a handful of reapers, like GuMiho is managing to do here. Also building bunkers outside his barracks, so the barracks won't be used against him. A bit of a risky maneuver, but probably a better option. SCV's pulled off the line. Now, GuMiho seems very prepared. There's already drones on the way on the other side. Gonna target down some of the SCVs here. Down goes one of the Reapers. More SCVs. Dark loses a Roach. Is looking, gets another Reaper. So this kind of the built-in counter to the Reaper rush as well. Is the having Ravagers this early just simply makes it very difficult for the Reapers to find anything, obviously. There's already Roaches and Ravagers out, so... And he built those barracks right next, those bunkers right next to each other, which does provide some opportunities for double corrosive bile as well, potentially. And while repair only costs 1/4 as much as what you're trying to repair. So if a bunker, 100 minerals, repairing it from 1 to full is 25 minerals. Same goes for gas, same calculation. So it is cheaper, much cheaper to repair than it is to rebuild. Of course, it isn't free. Medevac on the way. It looks like GuMiho gonna go... Ooh, knocks down the Overlord. That Dark has 5 more on the way, don't worry. More barracks. Gonna slap down a reactor as well. Stim. GuMiho pulling up together all the pieces of your standard macro. Dark has 8 more Roaches on the way, which is borderline. That's still a defensive amount, but if he keeps adding Roaches, you might be subscribing to the idea that the best defense is indeed a good offense. And yeah, it looks like that's where we're going. It's never the first. We've had first pressure, but how about second? As, yeah, a lot more Roaches and Ravagers coming across the map, and now GuMiho is spinning up his production. But he doesn't have it yet. He's only producing out of 1 barracks right now. He just started a siege tank. A Cyclone gonna try to stem the tide. But it's just going to wash over him. What does GuMiho even have? There's 5, 6 Marines at home. He salvaged the bunkers in the front. Not that they would help much with this. Dark. He didn't leave. He was just waiting outside. And Dark just comes in. No stim for you. Bunker might get up, but... Wow, that's so many Ravagers. Even before the attack was happening originally, Dark was building drones. He was prepared for this moment. He chose his timing. And GuMiho got a bit complacent. And it's not like he even has 3 command centers. He just kind of overcommitted to defense, it seems, early. And now the Ravager count is so damn high. Well, I'm saying it like it's a sure thing here, but... Actually, GuMiho holds on with the tank on the high ground. He lost Stim, but Dark only has 40 drones up until a few seconds ago. So, if he can't break the high ground, and he doesn't have a lair, then GuMiho might be able to pull this right back. The Zerglings, he just sprays and prays, hits just as many Zerglings as he does Terran units, maybe more. That siege tank worth its weight in gold and minerals. Dark. Honestly, GuMiho lifting the racks to kill that Overlord on the high ground nearby may have saved him. That one little move to deny any high ground vision. And he stands his ground at the bottom of the ramp, so that way Dark never gets vision of the tank. The Ravagers can't fire corrosive bile up to the high ground without vision. Don't ask why. Alright. It's just science. So... GuMiho holds on. Dark up to 62 drones. Once again, there's probably a 3rd round at this point. But GuMiho holds on, and now has an opportunity to counterattack. The lack of stim really hurts here. With it, he may have a chance of actually taking out the hatchery, but dropping a couple tanks with it. Roaches, Ravagers. More than enough for now. Dark has decided that this is going to be a bit more of a macro game. Adds 9 more drones, as well as, of course, the 1-1 upgrade. 62 drones is about the stopping point if you want to go for this 3-base Ravager Flood kind of all-in. But now that I think he's seen no third command center, and he knows that GuMiho is kind of limited to what's in those medevacs. So, with all that said, Dark is actually pretty far ahead economically now. Behind every attack is a huge economic boom. Okay, not huge, but like respectable and more than needed to even be ahead. GuMiho dodging the corrosive ballast. The big weakness of Ravagers, of course, an inconsistent ability to deal with air. Stim now done. +1/+1 for both sides about to complete. Already +1 for GuMiho. Weapons, of course. Another attack, no medevacs with it. Over to the right flank. GuMiho trying to keep the pressure on, but without medevacs, well, that you're missing the evac part of most attacks. Dark was already prepared. I don't think he knew exactly what was coming, but he already had units ready on both sides of the map. As you know, medevacs, the only way to be active at all is to be proactive. Tanks jammed up against the balcony. Dark. Wow, that's actually a pretty disgusting tank location. And once again, Dark lacking high ground vision. But, wow, how many roaches? 37 roaches on the field, 10 Ravagers. Dark just streaming in from all sides. Quite a cinematic fight here. Roaches and Ravagers over to the left flank. 2 siege tanks remain. But Dark comes swinging in again. Corrosive Biles fired at the first tank. Another spray on the Marines. 1 tank finally taken down. Boys pull. SCVs alongside the Marines. With no siege tanks on the back line. Well, the roaches are starting to thin out here. The medevacs doing their jobs. Still, indecisive. And at this point, I think the tie goes to the leader, as Dark still at 73 drones. 2-2 on the way. Does GuMiho even have an armory? He does not. So he's on the clock here. If Dark finishes 2-2 and he still has a solidly maxed out supply or a similar economy, it's going to become almost impossible to work against that. But there is a moment, an opportunity for the Marines with their sheer cost effectiveness and their micro potential. He's going straight for the hatchery. Corrosive Bio. Oh, he's coming back in for more. Bit of a ham-fisted approach to microing this, but GuMiho does get the hatch. Was it worth it? Now the medevac speeding home, knowing that Dark will take it back out on him. That's just so many roaches and Ravagers. This time around, Dark did not get hamstrung by a Hellion attack. He didn't get pinned down by medevacs. He didn't get his upgrades sliced away. But instead, he took the initiative. And he's never let go of it. Two about to complete. Dark is maxed out. Infestation Pit nearly completed as well. Still no armory for GuMiho. Finally, high ground vision for the tanks. The Marines are still incredibly cost effective, especially because the +2 carapace isn't finishing till much later in this fight. Dark is suffering a surprising amount of losses, but not enough. Counterattack. Few Marines. Dark holds on. Turns it around. Solid. Solid macro victory behind those attacks. It doesn't matter if it hurts your early economy to do those attacks if you can use it to create enough space to come out ahead. And he just knows. It's instinctual. When do I build drones? When do I build roaches? I remember early StarCraft 2, the eternal debate on whether each larva should be a set of Zerglings or a Muta or some drones. But it feels like it's not even like an active thought for Dark anymore. Just he knows what that larva is supposed to be. And in that case, it paid off. 1-1. All tied up. Remember? The Korean StarCraft 2 League is put on by viewers like you. You can check out the Patreon link in the description. Putting on... So, it isn't limited to Korean players. It's just held on the Korean server at a convenient time. So we get some even more great games between the best players and also people who aren't Dark occasionally. Well, occasionally I'm like, can I show Dark every day or just every other day? And I'll admit to trying for every other day. But considering Dark is sometimes up to 50% of the players in all the finals of all the weekly tournaments. Like, I'm not talking about in one. I'm talking about in North America, Korea. He rarely plays Europe. I think the timing and the ping are kind of awful. So at least Clem and Max Pex and Big Gabe still have some opportunity. But Dark and Beyond is back, by the way. Not that he left, but Beyond is grinding it out as well. GuMiho also putting the work. Honestly, GuMiho playing some of the best of his career. A long career, I might add. I remember GuMiho. What team was it? Oh my god, I can't. Fox Esports? There was a time when GuMiho, during the GSL team league. I'm so old I have to look this up now. I'm no Roddy. I can't remember with like perfect memory from 14 years ago. Okay, not 14 years, but a significant time ago. Exactly what happened in which game. Ah, yes. No, that was close. FXO. In 2012. He all killed Slayers. 5 games in a row. Is that 1, 2, 3? Yes, 5 games in a row. Remember Slayers? Where that was essentially the biggest title for GuMiho to that time. Oh yeah, GuMiho was also, by the way, fun fact, the first and one of the only players to ever compete in GSL as random. Wait, no, he's the first and only player to compete in GSL as random. The first season of GSL in 2010, I was reading his history here. He competed as random in StarCraft 2. Wow, 2010, first season. Artosis qualified for that one. And then he also qualified for being the best caster in our hearts.
Who does that?
But, anyways, he lost in the first round 0-2. But, cool fact. Unless the Wikipedia page isn't updated. I think I remember someone named Guinea Pig. Well, eventually he would change his name to Guinea Pig Commando. I'm pretty sure he played random, and Wikipedia just isn't upgraded, but... Oh, God. Is every cast just going to be... Like, oh my... Remember back in the day when there were players named Guinea Pig? I guess we have multiple bunnies right now, so I don't... Ah, he played in Code A. Okay. Wait, was Guinea Pig Commando? No, this was Guinea Pig. And he eventually changed his name to Guinea Pig Commando. And honestly, it's so middling results, but mostly remembered because his name was Guinea Pig Commando. Which is, you know, arbitrarily a pretty solid name. Well, how is... Okay. I always am like, am I completely missing things? So far, GuMiho has lost no units. One Overlord has gone down, as well as a handful of Zerglings. So, a perfect time for a trip down memory lane. In case you were wondering, after that season as random, GuMiho switched to Terran. And remains so to this day. The only player I can remember who switched their race at any point to Signet, like, outside of, like, the first year of StarCraft 2 was Neeb. Neeb switched from Terran to Protoss in Legacy of the Void. He was in WCS Challenger, but without much more than just barely qualifying success before Legacy of the Void. And then, of course, fast forward a couple of years, he becomes the first non-Korean to win a Korean championship, as well as multiple WCS. Anyways, we miss you, Neeb. Good luck in school. He knows the smart plays. Well, this is shaping up. GuMiho has been showing a disappointing lack of mech lately, but clearly his bio is completely competent. It was nice of Dark to mine through this area for him. In fact, he got there before everything went down. The mineral wall, that is. The Hellions melted by the Banelings. The medevacs thrown back. Dark loses a few drones, but he's maintaining 65 to just 49 for Gumi, bro. So overall, Dark's still in quite a comfortable economic position. He's got 1-1 on the way. +1 is done. Is this? No, it's not a 2-base all-in, but it's pretty damn close. He's at 49 SCVs. +1 attack is completed for GuMiho's Marines. +1 armor just started. Alright. Queens. Oh, wow. It's a lot of queens. 9 queens here. Big counter attack of Zerglings. Dark may very well give up this base. Thing is, he can trade. He's got 3 hatcheries in production outside of this base. I believe 2 at his main and 1 at the front, as well as another 4th if he wants it. Not gonna bother transfusing a base he's already written off. Though a bit supply blocked here. Has not started 2-2. Oh, those tanks are in such a great position, but Dark has some Zerglings ready as well. GuMiho still no orbital at his 3rd. Starts it now. He has the army supply to potentially press through. The Queens with a lot of energy here. Didn't waste it on transfusing the hatchery that he knew wasn't going to make it. But here comes Dark. A whole bunch of Zerglings and plenty of Banelings. GuMiho microing back, but going to be forced to retreat. The evacuation begins. Siege tanks took out a lot of the Lings and Banes, but not nearly enough to stop that attack. GuMiho diving in towards the right side. The creep, though, helping the Zerglings and Banelings sprint forward. GuMiho picks up at the last second. Gets most of that out. Maintains a bit of a supply lead, as he's being very efficient with these medevacs. Dark hasn't yet had his full production kick in. He's got a hive and his double macro hedge. More players need to do this, alright? Maybe not Cyril, who has perfect injects, but not enough Zerg players go with the double macro. Like, you're just not gonna have the lot of otherwise. This way you can pull the Queens off the line and still have some level of production. Very Brood War-esque. Dark clearly drawing some inspiration. Maybe he inspired it, I don't know. Only 49 SCVs for GuMiho, barely mining from his 3rd. Great target fire on the Banes there. Able to knock him out, and that allows him to carve his way through and get a lot more damage done on the left side. Beautiful targeting. And Dark actually not expecting to have to pull back there. Loses a lot more Zerglings than he probably expected. Oh my, he's lost 100 Zerglings to just 21 Marines. GuMiho with some of the best, well, both micro and decision-making from this position. He's done a great job of keeping his units alive and dangerous. And that's very important to keep that Ling Bane count whittled down. Otherwise, at some point, Dark can just A-move. And there's no amount of Marines that are going to solve it. But right now, 19 Banes, 66 Marines, 100 Zerglings in the mix as well. 2-2, about 2/3 of the way done, but that's still a long way off, as GuMiho has already set up good target fire on the Banelings. Retreating up to the north side, though, and the Queen's off a creep will be forced to retreat as well. The Marines split between 2 flanks, and another attack to the south. Though most of the medevacs are here for some reason. Ultralisk Cavern on the way. Dark is, well, he's holding. If he can get the Ultras, the Adrenal Glands, the 2-2, more stems. The Medevac's not quite here. Needs to come up and heal, dropping some more Marines out into the fray. And so many Zerglings are dying. But he's keeping them busy. The more Zerglings heading around. 2-2 is done, making it that much harder for the Marines to actually engage the Banelings. Targets down a few more, but another wave of Lings and Banes makes their way in. It's just so much. And the door is open. The Zerglings come streaming in. It was looking tenuous for GuMiho. It actually looked like he might be able to pull together a defense and do a potentially game-ending attack, but Dark is starting to slip through. The natural is gone. The third base is overrun. The main is only barely defended. And GuMiho is down to one big attack with a whole bunch of Marines, but already in autumn colors. A single Baneling doing terrible, terrible damage. Still, more Banelings on the back line. The Liberators as well. Banelings rolling through on creep. More and more damage, but still a whole bunch of Marines. GuMiho holding the line, but it's just too much. Dark overruns him with the economy crumbling at home. Seconds before Adrenal Glands completes, Dark surrounds GuMiho and rips him to shreds. But still, GuMiho's decision-making on his Marines it's so good. Just not quite enough. Just a few little details off. Frosting the I's, dotting the T's. Nope. Other way around. Well, you never know. Closing the depots. That was the punchline. Or raising the depot, you know. But GuMiho with his incredibly capable bio. Just not enough, though, against the darkness. The final boss comes out on top this time around, not phased by a game 1 loss. Thank you for watching. I hope I made your day a little bit better, Jimmy. 1,052 likes. Cast another one, probably tomorrow. Thank you for watching. I hope I made your day a little bit better. Good luck, have fun. See you next time. Stay chill.